Hi everybody, here's Fleur, your fertility homeopath. Thank you for tuning into this video because today I'm showing you how to make some pessaries. And these pessaries are fantastic if you struggle with thrush, which is a yeast infection, or bacterial vaginosis, which is a yeast infection that's become a bacterial infection, or cystitis or UTI. So this is fantastic if you struggle with itching and burning. It's going to be really soothing, and it's antimicrobial, which means it's going to kill off bacteria and kill off the bad yeast, candida. And yeah, what you should do is put them in overnight because it's going to melt because of your body temperature. So the best is to have it in overnight so that it stays in for a little bit longer than as long as gravity allows it to be in there. And to use a panty liner so that, so that you don't stain your underwear. So let's get into it. So let's start with what you need. The basic ingredient is coconut oil. Coconut oil is antiseptic, it's antimicrobial, so that's perfect. It's also fantastic to use for kids that have nappy rash, for example, for that reason. And then you need your ice cube tray. I know these ice cubes are quite big, but you can cut them in half afterwards. And if you can find ice cube trays with smaller ice cubes, that's ideal. You could also use a Ziploc bag, but I'll show that later how that would work. And then I've got a spoon to stir, and then I've got some essential oils that are optional for you. Now, I don't know why this is, but because I haven't looked into it, but essential oils are always advised against if you're just pregnant, or if you're pregnant for longer, I guess. So I will put in that little disclaimer here as well. If you are trying to conceive and you are around ovulation, or you're just after ovulation and in your 2-week wait, don't use this with essential oils. Don't worry, you can just use the coconut oil. That alone will be very effective. So you might as well have like a batch like before you're ovulating if you want, and one for after, and if you think that's too much hassle, just make that one. But if it were me, I would probably make 2 batches and label them really clearly. What I'm also putting in is some probiotics. Well, these are not actually probiotics. I don't, my camera is not, but you can probably read. Yes, there it goes. Saccharomyces boulardii. This is actually a friendly yeast. So I'm going to open a capsule and add it to the mix. What you can also do is open a capsule of other probiotics. I know there's a brand that I used to buy, which I really like. And their suppositories contain lactobacillus. So you can just add that in as well. The essential oils that I'm using right now are tea tree oil. I'm going to use it really sparingly because that can be quite overwhelming. Lavender as well. Both of these, again, are antibacterial and antifungal. And lavender oil also promotes healing, so that's great if it's also sore down there, if you already have cracks, that kind of, fun stuff. Other great essential oils that you could use are, for example, rose, and there's some others, but I can't seem to come up with them at the moment. If I think of them, I will put them in the description box. So I've added the friendly yeast, and I meant to add 1 drop of tea tree oil because I was scared it was going to be too much, but it ended up being 2 by accident. And I put in 3 of lavender. I'm really scared to put in too much because I really don't want to do that. And it's great that it's warm weather here at the moment because my coconut oil is never running like this. Where you live, it may be that case all the time. Yesterday, actually, there's only so little in this bowl now, in this jar, because I was being really stupid funny yesterday with my husband, and I turned over the jar because it's always stuck in there, and then half of it fell out. It was so dumb. But anyway, it made it easier right now to mix in my stuff for the suppository, so whatever. If your coconut oil is not running like this, it's hard to stir, I wouldn't put it in the microwave. I know people suggest that, but I don't know what it does to the coconut oil, so I wouldn't do that. What you can do is if you have another bowl of really hot water, and then you put it in there, and then stir it around. That works perfect. Au bain-marie, that's called. I wasn't sure if I would be able to fill this much of the tray, but a little bit went a long way. As you can see, I haven't filled the little pockets to the top because I think that would be too much. If I look at the side, you see, so it's about halfway, and then I'm going to cut them in half later. I think that will be a perfect size. So I'm going to put them in the freezer right now. I'm not going to keep them there, but I'm going to put them in the freezer just so they harden out a little bit quicker. You can also put them in the fridge if you have more time, but freezer probably makes more sense. So the pessaries have been in the freezer for probably 2 hours, but I think after half an hour, they were really hardened out. I think in the first clips I've been talking about suppositories, and there are people use different words on the internet, I've noticed, but the official difference is that suppositories are used rectally, and these are pessaries. They are meant to be used vaginally. But people that suffer with hemorrhoids, for example, they can also make suppositories and use them rectally. But this video is not about that. These are pessaries. Anyway, I'm going to take these out and I'm going to cut them in half. In the meantime, I've also cleaned out the jar that I had. I thought it was pretty cute, so I can reuse that. And then I've made some labels as well. You can make these with your printer and some tape really easily, as long as you have an inkjet, I think, or laser. I don't remember. I'm going to put that in the link below as well, or in the description. I'm so well prepared, aren't I? But I'm just filming this on the fly because otherwise I'm not going to get it done for sure. So I'll put that extra information down below. But all I've done is printed off this and then stuck some plastic tape over it, and then you put it in water and it's going to curl up like this, but eventually the paper, you can scrub it off. This one hasn't been on very long, but you can kind of see, and what happens is that the ink stays behind. Let's see, I can show you a little bit already. It's really neat. I've made all the little signs in my clinic this way, so all the doors are marked with the signs that I've made myself. So I'm going to make sure that you can download the template for this as well, so that you can stick that on the jar that you have. I was really trying to think of a name for these things, but all of them seemed really odd for your husbands and kids and other family members to see in the fridge, so I decided just to print off the logo, because then my logo, because then you know what it is. It's really easy recognizable. And I decided to make one with date made and ingredients, and since it's plastic, you can write with wet erase pen on it and then remove it again if you make a new batch. So I'm just gonna cut these in half and show you what that looks like. That went fairly easily. First of all, they came out of the ice cube tray really easily. But then when I started to cut them first, they crumbled. And I thought, since my husband keeps our knife super, super sharp, that would work fine. But what works better is if you run it under hot water and then seesaw through the cubes. Oh, why did I close this up? That's not handy. There we go. So if you seesaw through it, then it's really easy to cut. And you see you've got all these little, half cubes. And since it melts really quickly, you don't have to worry about... Oh, why is it not zoom? Aww. Oh, well, whatever. But you don't need to worry about the sharp edges, because that will melt really quickly. I can tell you that it smells really yummy. And in the meantime, I have peeled off one of the labels. So you don't have to worry about the glue coming off as well, because funnily enough, once this dries and the water is gone, it sticks perfectly. So I hope you found that helpful, that you can make your own all natural pessaries at home, and that you have under control what you want to put in there or don't want to put in there, so that it's pregnancy safe, or, you know, if you have any allergies. I forgot to shoot some footage of how to make these pessaries if you don't want to use an ice cube tray. But what you can do is you can put the mixture, whatever mixture you will use with the coconut oil, in the bottom of a Ziploc bag, and then kind of roll it up and then freeze that, and then cut that up in little pieces. So if you found the pieces that I showed you a little bit too big still, or you can't find the right ice cube tray, that is an option. I've tried with straws, but that makes absolutely no sense because they're so tiny and it's really hard to keep the content in. And then there's also another option. Online you can find some really useful molds, either made of plastic, which I'm not a fan of because then it's going to be thrown out again, and, you know, plastic soup, ocean, whatever. If I can avoid it, I want to. But you also have silicone molds, which you can use over and over, but you have to Google for suppositories because it's a lot more common apparently for people to share it online or to make suppositories. But these look like little tiny torpedoes, and, you know, you can use those as pessaries as well. So just Google that, or, you know, whatever. So if you have any more questions, if I left something out or you have something to add, that would be really cool. Please do share that in the comments. And if you have any ideas for future videos, and I'm up for that because I do enjoy making these, even though they do cost a lot of time. But, you know, they're a lot of fun to do, but I'm not always sure what topic to do it on, because it's more fun to do something like a DIY that I did today with you than it is, you know, talking about hormones. But if you enjoy those, do let me know, because I can talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk when it comes to hormones, or, you know, fertility and charting, whatever. So yeah, don't be shy. Ask me to do another video on a certain topic that you're interested in. Okay, I hope you have a great day, and do let me know also if you try this and if you find it useful. See you later. Bye.